Healthy connections with others is actually one of the 5 pillars of health. Today, we're going to talk about how sending a text and connecting with others can actually help you eat better. How is that going to work? Ever notice how you feel a little bit lighter after a great laugh with some friends, like physically lighter? Those kinds of positive social interactions can directly boost mental and emotional well-being. But here's a less obvious connection. Strong social connections might even help us eat better. And that's because loneliness is often a driver of emotional eating. I'm going to let that sit a second. Having adequate social support lowers stress and maybe even help reduce those angry chip eatings or crying into a bowl of ice cream. We've all been there. And even when people know that connection with others is good for your health, I don't think that's new. We're still reluctant, some reason, to pick up the phone and call somebody. So why is it so hard to reach out? The University of Chicago pointed out in a recent study a super interesting answer. We actually undervalue how much people care about staying connected with us. We actually undervalue how much people care about staying connected with us. Whew, guys, that hit hard for me. When we consider reaching out to someone, we're usually probably having a thought like, oh, she's probably busy with her own life. I don't want to bother her. Oh, I only have 5 minutes. That's probably not enough time to catch up. Like we start talking ourselves out of it, right? So here's the tragic irony. Most people are craving that connection, and they feel delighted when someone calls or when someone texts, just check up on them. And even more delighted, I can speak to this, when someone chooses to confide in them. When I have someone who's like, Jessica, you're the one I wanted to tell this to, good or bad, I'm like, oh my gosh, what an honor that you thought of me to share this with. So kind of think about that when you're about to call, that people are going to be so excited and they're going to feel connected and honored that you thought of them. So even with all that, I think so many times we're like, oh, no one cares if this person hears from me or if anyone hears from me. And instead of turning to a friend when we feel lonely, maybe we turn to cookies instead. And challenges with food and fitness aren't always about food and fitness. I'm going to say that again. Challenges with food and fitness are not always about food and fitness. So what looks like a food issue, maybe it's overeating, might be a social issue, especially if overeating is triggered by loneliness and isolation. And I know a lot more of us are working from home now, and we might really be feeling that loneliness and isolation. So a social issue might cause a lack of connection per se, but thinking that it's a food or fitness issue is probably not even connecting in our brain. So if you really do struggle with emotional eating, kind of dig in there a little bit. What else in your life gives you comfort and support aside from food? Is it social interaction? Is it movement? Whatever, is it a hobby? Whatever it is, we're going to try to start adding that in, not necessarily taking things away. Remember, we want to add those things in. So if your social plate is a little empty, consider taking the initiative to grow your relationships. You could even make a list of social tasks to do whenever you get that emotional urge to eat. Like a list of people you want to text. I'm feeling lonely. Let me call, let me text, let me set up a date, that kind of thing. And you could even set up a walking date with a buddy or hop on FaceTime to chat. You could go old school and write a letter. I tend to not do that because people can't read my handwriting, but some people really love that connection to the hand and the brain. And it can release so many endorphins for people. So just try it this week. Think about some people you've really missed connection with. Go ahead and write them down. And the next time you're feeling lonely, send a text, give them a call, write them a letter, and just see what happens. Your connection with someone might make you feel a little bit fuller in many ways, right? please follow or subscribe, and I will see you next time. Always check the show notes because I have some goodies in there.